Candidate for Ward 5, Cleveland City Council. Rich, how you doing, man? How you liking the interview so far? Man?
Oh, great interview. It was always a good time to see you, Larry. It's always good.
It is always good to see you, especially young brothers doing it. Now, I got to ask, like, we left off break with something, and I got to ask you this question. Now, the thing about it is that he talked about the first loss, and the thing about it is there was there's now that you're running again, somebody has brought up on Facebook, social media, mailbox issue where they're saying that you are illegally putting your flyers in the mailboxes of abandoned houses. What is your response to that? Stop with the laugh track right now. What is your response to that, for real?
I went to school to get educated, and I want to tell you this. That don't even possibly make sense. And when you have fans, like I said, when you have fans that study your moves and they watch your canvassers, and then that they're the ones who take pictures and stuff. Like, come on now. Then you look at your fans' page. If that fan, if they're a fan of you, you can tell by how they're a fan of you that their page is full of nothing but things about you. Like, how can you have a whole wall about me and you ain't even from Ward 5? You ain't never slept in Ward 5 to my knowledge.
Wow.
Unless there's some other things going on, but that's another story.
Okay.
But what it is it just shows you how bad politics is and how dirty someone will play because they just feel that they're not just the one for to do the job, or it's always that one in the background that want to be in the front, but they just don't got the skill set to do it. So they go to people or they try to control individuals who don't got the courage to stand up for themselves. And that's why we need change in leadership, because we cannot keep going on living this way and having individuals who just tear down the community and just mislead the people. Like putting literatures inside of a mailbox without a stamp, man, that's one-on-one. Come on now. Like you don't think that's the first thing we see?
Right.
Nobody's going in and putting in literature in the mailboxes. Come on. Like that wouldn't even make sense when you got a screen door right there.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of, I find it hard. But then, like I said, when they're a fan of you, they see everything you do, but they don't see. They never share. They never share when you're passing out food. They never share about the tuitions of school, the students that you pay for them to go to school. They never talk about the seniors that you help to make sure they travel and they're able to get out so they can. How
you doing, man?
They never share the fact that you have kids working in constructions and getting them jobs. They never share that you became provided grief counseling for those who lost loved ones to gun violence. They never share or never speak up when Arthur Keefe was gunned down by a police officer at CMHA. But they can speak up and share everything else, though.
I understand that. I mean,
it's crazy.
The thing about it is, like, now that you mentioned, and that was my next question. You're leading into that. What is being done about that the person being gunned down at CMHA in Ward 5, the cop that did it?
So right now we're still fighting the battle. We're still fighting the battle and still fighting the fight to find answers. Attorney General stepped in and ruled that there was not going to be any charges against the officers, but that does not stop anything. Meaning we have to continue to fight, and it's going to take the people to fight.
Wait. So, Attorney General, which Attorney General?
Our Attorney General.
Yeah, that. See, I was going to side with you. Like, the thing about it, like, no, the thing about it is I'm about to cuss. I got to remember there's a young man right here. I just can't do that. I just, like, yeah, the prince here has kept me from saying some things that I would say regularly about our Attorney General not charging the man that killed him. We have this problem. And
the thing is, what we have to do is, like I said, we have to support and come together.
Right.
Like we got millions of followers and thousands of followers on our pages, and we are there commenting and saying happy birthday to the celebrity, but we ain't commenting and we ain't screaming and we ain't hooping hollering when Arthur Keefe got shot in the back. and killed.
Mm-hmm.
We can get into the scenario. We
right.
can get into the fact. We can get into different scenarios and opinions, but I'm gonna get to the fact. He was shot down in his back, gunned down in his back, and that's what we need to be posting, sharing, marching, hooping, hollering. You know, that's and ever since I was a young boy, I used to be in a class and I used to be in American history and we used to talk. And one question I used to always ask every American history teacher, every historian, my number one thing I asked, I said, it's amazing that we, in this country, we focus on everything else happening elsewhere but our own.
Right.
We go to war, after we go to war in another country and do whatever we do, as far as, quote unquote, you know, United States big, powerful, strong, and we win those wars. We stay there, and now we want to fix this whole country up. But then you come back from fighting that war, and you ain't even got the rights to do anything. We still have people in this country that can't vote because they got a felony. Then you have the state of Ohio making it harder and harder for people to vote. They purging people votes.
Yes.
So since when you have to your voter registration expires? Since do your boat license and all that expire? Do your library? I mean, like, let's be honest. So you saying since I don't vote, you gonna just remove me? Maybe there was nothing for me to vote for. Maybe I didn't like the candidates that were on the ballot these last few years. Or maybe yes, we do need to address that. A lot of people are moving. But think about this: we got people in Ward 5 moving from different public housing neighborhoods to different neighborhoods in the same ward. Mm-hmm. But then they get purged because they just don't participate. But guess what? Most of the time, they don't even know when election is day until they see people yard signs outside their election poll.
Right, exactly.
but then you go down to then you look up to the state, and the state's sending out some junk mail card about a little postcard asking you to respond. And you like, yo, what is respond to what? I'm registered to vote. I'm registered in my mama's house, or I'm registered where I've always stayed. Like, why do we make it so hard, or why do we make it impossible for someone to have verification to vote? You know, you can get your college ID, you can have something go on with your state ID, but they won't even use that. They say your state ID, your college ID, and for a college student, you can't even use that. So it's like we do everything to stop people from participating in democracy. But here's also a known fact: what the people must need to understand: when our forefathers and our ancestors, when Frederick Douglass and all them were first freed, when they were first freed as slaves, what's the first thing they did? What's the first thing they did? The first thing they did was made sure the elected officials looked like us.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Once they were quote unquote free. Mind you, Frederick Douglass was free for about 25, 30 years before the emancipation was on.
Proclamation.
Before that was fine. He was already freed and ran away, slave. Taught himself how to read, taught himself everything. But as soon as they said, Abraham Lincoln and them said this, he said, "Oh, we're going to help y'all win that war. After we win that war, we're going to get our freedom. And the first thing we're going to do is get elected officials to look like us. Slaves, those new citizens or them free slaves are now running for office, and they are black people that are now elected officials." So then you get into the redlining. Then you get to the gerrymandering, where they start doing we're going to move this voting poll location, or we're going to make it to the point that no black official can get elected. So now you look up in 2021, you see it doing it black to black. You see it happening in our community. You seeing 10 poll locations in different, and you see 10 poll locations, but it's 19 precincts. Mm-hmm. You know,
that don't make no sense though.
You
Never does.
But so you go when you go in that gerrymandering. Another way you do it is this. Okay, if I'm accustomed to voting at the school that's right outside my window, and in order for us to keep that low voter turnout, this what the powers that be may do is say we're going to move that poll from not being at East Technical High School. Instead, I'm going to move your polling location. I'm going to send it to Zimmer, Georgia now. Mm. So now you put it 2.5 miles, 3 miles from where I normally vote. So guess what the registered voter going to do? Well, I ain't going.
It's too far.
It's too far. I'm just not about to go. Man, y'all tripping. You just discouraged them. But once our ancestors got free, the first thing they did was making sure that we got stuff built into the Constitution, and they made sure that we had elected officials that was look like us, and we have to do the work.
Exactly. All right. If or when, because we speak truth to power here on the Headline Act, are elected to city council, what's the first 30 days of your administration look like once you put on that Bible and swear in?
First 30 days?
Yes.
Learning. And what I mean by learning is we have a plan. You have some thoughts that you want to do, but you got to learn. You got to know who's in charge, or who in this organization is the CEO, who is doing the groundwork over in this organization. You need to find out what the police are doing as far as making sure each district is working together. And then you need to put out some things so you can meet and get to know this information. You got to walk around. It ain't about just sitting in the office. You need to go figure out how we can help and work together. So you have to first start off with that approach of learning and getting to understand what everyone doing. Then you start implementing things. Because it takes you a year to learn a job, but that don't mean you can't learn on the fly and get things done. So therefore, we start putting stuff in place, making sure we start addressing the needs such as jobs and economic development, safety, and education. So that means working with their schools to figure out what the needs are of the schools. Then you working with them, making sure the businesses are full capacity, meaning do they have hiring freezes or do they have hiring gaps because they just don't have no one applying? So you start bringing people to the table so you can find out what's going on so we can come up with the plan on the direction we can go in together. It can't be just soul on soul what I want to do. Because yes, I do got some ideas and things that we need to do and ways to address certain issues that we can start on the grass level, on the surface level. But now we need to start thinking more so we. So the first 30 days is what are we doing, what is great, and how can we start to make sure we can, improve in those areas that we may be struggling in.
How would you get big businesses to set up how do you get big business to set up shops in Ward 5 to bring career opportunities to Ward 5? How, as a councilman, would you do that? I mean, we can talk about, CDC, block grant dollars, and how much money that you're going to get for the streets, allocating more money to, get more police in Ward 5 and more money for that. But how do you get corporations to put their shops, their business, in your ward for career opportunities or even employment that would increase the median income from $12,000 to hopefully $45,000, $55,000, $65,000.
So what we have to do is you have to help the business see where we are at, see that we are in this crisis and we do have the space and the capacity for your business. But then also we have to empower the people to have the skill set so once that business get there, it's not like it's gentrification or it's businesses that's coming just to get people else to get there. We also got to maximize the opportunity, how far and how close we are to downtown. So we have to really paint that picture and come up with a plan to make sure that we are having, like I said, we got to bring those skills. If we talk about we want trucking and everyone is big on the CDLs and import or export, okay? Well, we need to be having something in our ward to help those individuals get those licenses and CDLs so they can be able to drive the truck. Then we need to take it to a further level to the Congress and ask for them to do some revision on some of these grants, like the Pell Grant. The Pell Grant can help a person go through a training course so that they can get that schooling. You know what I mean? So if you're going into school and you're applying for grants and you're applying for scholarship, the Pell Grant comes out of assistance to help that individual. Sometimes that dollar amount for that Pell Grant can be $6 or $7 grand that is needed for someone to go to truck driving school, or they need to go to trade school to get some stuff. Working with like the works of Tri-C. If you ask me personally, we should be some type of pipeline to make sure that people who are residents of Ward 5 have free education. Meaning there should be something within the work that we're doing and collaborating with Tri-C that they should be able to enroll in school and get those trades and do those different things to make them be able to be employable. Meaning construction, HVAC, plumbing. There should be ways that if you're a resident of Ward 5, you should be able to get free schooling. That would also help increase the enrollment. That will also help bring back those people who have the skills now to be able to get the certification, and then also creating that pipeline initiative to those big businesses, meaning we as the leaders did the screening in our businesses for them. Then we also need to take it to a step further. How do we start doing trade initiative programs as early as that 10th grade? So by the time that kid leaves high school, they got a goal they're looking for. Imagine telling the young man, like, okay, starting your 11th grade year, that summer, you're going to be working with Habitat for Humanity. And you're going to learn the ins and outs about construction. You're going to learn how to rehab. You're going to learn how to do everything that it is as far as construction. But every summer, you're going to have a job. And then once a month, throughout during the school year, you still, once a weekend, you're going to work at that job. So you basically getting all that screening done while you're in high school. So you learn the ins and outs, a couple of mistakes here and there, but you really learned that whole job for 2 years. So when you walk out of high school, you got certification, and then you also got in your backyard in Ward 5 Tri-C who can provide you the more education and more certification so you can get into that quality good position. You know how some guys be like, yo, man, I was at the job, man, and this my OG told me, man, if you go get this certificate, you get this, you get that. That's how those partnerships start forming.
Right. And
that's how you do that.
So pretty much with a construction job, you're an apprentice for 4 years before you're a journeyman. So the thing about it is, once you get out of high school, you already have 2 years in as being an apprentice, and then you can just work 2 more years and be a journeyman, and then you can pretty much work for whoever that partner the hell you want to.
And you're 20 years old.
Right.
Now you're talking about changing the mindset. I ain't 20 years old trying to be the weight man. I'm 20 years old. I'm 20 years old, and I'm a big example for my siblings. So they want to see my brand new Charger or my Camaro, but they know I got that from working.
Right.
Working. So now I want to be, I want to be construction just like my big brother. I want to be a football player. I want to do all that the same, and that's how we have to go with that approach.
Right. And the thing about it is, like, you are big on that, and the thing is that you can now have people build homes in Ward 5.
Yes.
They don't have to live in the projects anymore. And then you can have people who are homeless. This is the thing. You can have people live in Ward 5 and buy homes or abandoned buildings in Ward 5 and property, with better jobs. Then those who are homeless or out on the street, you can have those people move into those projects. They can get better, and then it cycles over and over again. The projects are not a permanent home for people.
You speaking that language?
It is a stepping stone. Like CMHA is a stepping stone. It is not a permanent solution. People have been living in those projects for generations, and unfortunately, that's where you have the crime, because people are tired of being on top of each other, and then they get mad.
And that's true. So what you have to do is, you got to hold organizations or businesses like CMHA, to the foot of the fire. Like, what are you doing to help people progress in their life? You can't just let them. I'm just gonna sit here and just get all of my government assistance. No, let's help you understand. You need to be a homeowner next. You need to have a plan. One thing we need to, they talk about violence in the city, we need more case managers. And what I mean by case managers, don't try to give that parent or that mom a case manager after she loses her kids, and now that case manager is giving her orders on what to do to get her kids back. Where was the proactiveness there? Why didn't we be proactive and say we knew this was a problem going on? The school seen it as a problem when the kids was in first grade all the way up until they got in high school or whatever grade they are in now. Now you want to take the kids. We should have been helped that parent. If that young girl or that young single parent has multiple kids and got a lot going on and multiple baby daddies, we should have been in there. We should have been in that business. Don't be in that business after you even took them. Now that defeats the purpose. Provide the resources. So, okay, well, that case manager might be that parent that she never had.
Right.
Or like, I look at my situation. I went through foster care. I remember one week I taken out of my mom's house, and she had to work 9-10 months just to fight to get us back. But she had the perseverance that she want her kids. She wasn't one like, I'm just giving them up to the system. No, she fought and did everything her case manager asked her to do. And I remember having that conversation with her. I'm like, yo, did that really help you? Or what was it? Like, how was grandma? Like, what made you fight so hard to, She said, I wanted my kids back and I wanted you all, but I knew I needed to get out of my domestic violence situation. But in order for me to get out of my domestic violence situation, I mean, I got to deal with what I got to do. And that's the type of stuff that we don't address. Like, there's a lot going on in our community. And it's always in the communities and the population that don't vote. So therefore, those elected officials don't pay attention. But the days of communities being not representative or forgotten, it has to end. And that starts with voting for Richard Starr September 14th.
Do you feel like you know what, blackfish stuff for that? Blackfish stuff for that. So, do you feel like under the because now Phyllis Cleveland has stepped down due to issues, health issues?
She got a job, man. She got a job.
That's what I was about to ask. How is her health?
I think I shot her around on social media, just making sure she's healthy, well, and making sure she's good. She never commented. Some certain text messages she don't comment in there, so it's kind of a thing. But from what I've heard is that she's fighting with her health and doing what she can do. But she did just get a new job, so I just hope everything is well with her health and she's able to do her job that she can do. Because we don't speak on health in our community as often as we should, and we don't educate people on it.
Mental and physical health.
Yep, mental and physical health as well. So I think that she's just battling and taking care of herself and getting everybody together. But she's set to go back to work if she has not started yet. So I'm hoping she's good.
All right. So that's what's up. So the thing about it is, when we come back, we gotta go and get this done. We're wrapping it up with Richard Starr, A Starr, the candidate for Ward 5. And let's talk about the ward itself and the future of Ward 5 under his administration if he's elected. We'll be right back on the headline, www.WNRV108.1.com, Nerve DJs Network.